Okay, welcome to another Wednesday class. Sorry about the delay, having all kinds of technical problems. We got kicked out of the pub and all those kinds of things. So we are here for another Wednesday BrAMS conditioning class. So what it is about an hour-long class where we look at working specific everyday motions to build confidence, strength, help increase range of motion, and all those kinds of things for those people that have been referred from the MS department down at Southmead, working through BrAMS. So chances are, if you're here watching this, you're one of the people who have come via that department. If you're not, if you haven't been referred here by, say, Liv or someone else down on the physio team, etc., then just be aware that this is set at a very specific kind of level. A challenge level and those kinds of things. That's not to say that there aren't multiple challenges for different kind of abilities and those kinds of things, but come along, take it easy, do as much as you can today. That's all we're looking for, as much as you can do today, rather than kind of leaving all sweaty and all that kind of situation. Things you're going to need today: a nice sturdy chair. One that's obviously not going to fall over, one that's not going to slip away or anything along those lines. That's going to be great. I do thoroughly recommend one with arms if you've got one. Mine's a patio chair from out in the garden, from out in the beer garden, obviously, in the pub. So they can just help for a little bit of extra support should we need it with some of the movements today. Other things that you might want, if you want to get a little bit of fluid, some cold fluid, something along those lines, that will help, not only to help regulate internal body temperature and those kinds of things, but people like a little bit of sip on a bit of water when they're working out as well, so that's always available to you if you want to grab that as well. Now, another thing you might want today is, and let me just grab this, is a couple of weighted tins, or weighted items, something along those lines, just in case you want to put a little bit of extra challenge on some of the movements for yourself today. I'm just using some black beans in water and some chickpeas in water. They weigh roughly around the same. They're just there to hold and move through various motions, just to add that little bit of extra challenge should you want it. When we're working out today, you may feel some kind of, a slight little burning within muscular areas. That's perfectly normal. If we feel it in the muscles, we would generally expect that kind of thing. When we look at kind of pain associated with exercise, it's really the stuff in the kneecaps, any other joints, ankles, elbows, wrists, those kinds of things that we look to stay away from, as well as sharp pains in the muscles. So if you do experience any of those during today's class, whatever movement you're doing, do kind of take it back a step and just really reassess your movement pattern that we're working on. All of the working patterns and all of the movements I'm going to ask you to do today, I'll try and explain as much as I can to give you much information as possible. But if there's anything that you can't do, or anything that you can't do close to what I'm doing on the screen, don't worry, just do the best you can. All we're looking for is to do the best range of motion that you can do throughout the different motions today. Great. Oh, look, my wrist has disappeared. Modern technology and green screens, hey, how exciting. Anyway, that said, I think that's about it. If you've got any music that you want to pop on, throw that on in the background. If you've got any kind of dogs or cats running around, make sure they're out the way so you've got lots of space today. And really, we'll start with our warm-up, as we always do. It's good to get warmed up before exercise. And we're starting in the chair. And what we are going to do is we'll start from the floor upwards. So we're just going to do circles with the ankles. Now, how you kind of get your circles going on the ankles is completely up to you. We can keep our foot up in the air and do it. We can cross our legs and do it for a little bit of support. We're just getting that range of motion going. Let's go the opposite way as well. If it's tricky to keep our legs off the floor for an extended period of time, you can keep your toe on the floor and just draw circles with your heel instead. Okay? So it's about finding what's suitable for you during this warm-up process. We'll go ahead and do it with the other foot next. So remember, nice big circles. Maybe you're drawing it with the toe. Maybe you're drawing it with the heel, depending on how you're feeling today. And let's take that the other way round as well. Good stuff. Nice and controlled, but firmly planted in the seat as well. Next thing we're going to do is let's look at the knees, okay? So we're going to draw circles with our knees next. So when I talk about drawing circles with the knees, whichever knee you want, you're just going to draw the biggest circle that you can with that knee. Now, if that's the leg coming off the floor, brilliant. If the leg's staying on the floor, brilliant. But this time, you're really just picturing the knee and drawing the biggest shape that you can with it. You might want to shuffle down to the edge of your seat. So if you've got arms on there, so you can draw even bigger circles, those kinds of things. Regardless of which way you're doing it, just key on keeping a good upper body posture. Let's take our knees the opposite way again. Well, not again, but for the first time. And when I talk about posture, I want you to think about shoulder blades. Key on the shoulder blades, push those shoulder blades into your back pockets. And what that does is I will go to the opposite leg now. So the other leg, you're drawing circles again. Nice as circles. So drawing those shoulder blades into our back pockets, you'll notice that it just draws our shoulders back and brings our chest high. So that's what we're looking to do. We'll draw our knees the opposite way again. Nice circles the opposite way. Keep on going. Nice big circles. Drawing all the way around. All the way. And remember, you're just trying to take the biggest range of motion that you've got today. That's all we're looking to do. Your biggest range of motion for you today. Great. So we've done the legs. Let's move up a level, shall we? Let's pop one hand on the shoulder and take nice big circles. So now we're drawing circles with the elbow. Round and round we go. And once again, good posture. We're not sitting back in the seat. We're holding firm. We're not bringing that elbow all the way up to the ear or anything like that. We're maintaining a gap there. Let's take the elbow the opposite way. Good stuff. Nice round motion. Let's go to the other side. Forward or back, whatever you prefer to start with. Whatever it is, it's just nice and controlled and nice and easy. Nice controlled motions. Everything that we're doing has a purpose today. It's purposeful movement. So don't let gravity, we'll go the opposite way, pull you down. Don't lose control of any movement. Just make sure that you are keying in on everything that is being done. Lovely. Let's go to the wrists on one hand. Big waves to the people in the pub. One side. Let's take the wave the other way around. Nice and controlled once again. And we'll go to the other side. Hello, people. And the opposite way as well. Lovely, we're going back down to the floor now, and what we're looking to do is going to do both at the same time, all the way back up the body. So, remember, we've got our feet off the floor, circles with the toes. If we're not quite there, keeping the feet off the floor, toes stay on the floor, and taking big circles. Let me give you the side view, just so we can see what's going on. Toes on the floor with the big circles, you see. So we can just... It's just the biggest range of motion that you've got today. And we're still keen on good upper body posture. So just because we're not working at the top of our body, let's go the opposite way. Doesn't mean we start to bend down or anything like that. So keep up nice and control as that's going on. And then we're coming back to the knees as well. So we're going knees all the way around. Now this is going to be super tricky and challenging to get them both up and over. And keep that posture, especially on the downward section. So try and control that as much as you can. If we're finding that incredibly tricky, just keep the toes on the floor and take big circles around with the knees. So remember, it's about finding your challenge level today. One of the key things, let's take it the opposite way now, one of the key things that you should use when we're doing any of our movements and any of the adjustments, which I'll talk about in a moment, posture. If your posture starts to break down, you find yourself hunching over or anything like that, take it back a level. We want to do all of our movements with that good, correct, sitting up straight posture, like you're in assembly back in primary school. From there. Okay, arms back to those shoulders and those arms, nice big circles forward. Both at the same time. Posture's there, we're not driving the shoulders up to the ears. There's a nice gap there. And in reverse, big as you can get those elbows, as you can get those circles going. To the wrists, maybe we go in the palm to palm situation and just rotate round one way. And then we go the opposite way. This probably looks super weird if you're next to a window. Excellent stuff. Okay, we're going to take our arms at the robot position next. So by the robot position, that's like right angles to the body. And all we're going to do is just out and back in. Oh, there we go. Out and back in. Out and back in. So we're just trying to get our arms. We're keeping our elbows pinned to our side as much as we can. As we rotate the hands away from the body and then back in. Nice and controlled once again. We're just getting certain parts of our shoulder. There's a lot of movement in there warmed up. Lovely stuff. Next thing we're looking to do is taking our arms up above the head, like a hostage if you want. Ah! And we're just going to rotate forward and back up, forward and back up. So we're only going down as far as the shoulder level. It's not much of a big motion, but we're just rotating that shoulder area as much as we can. Good stuff. All right, we're going to start looking at a few multitasking situations right now. So for the start, what I'd like to see you do, well, I'm not going to see it because obviously I can't see anybody, but what I want to think you're doing is just taking steps on the spot. So whatever that means to you today. So if we're sat in the chair, maybe it's just the heels coming up, okay? And that's fine. But we want to keep a consistent rhythm going the entire time. Boom, 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 boom. If you've got it in your legs, if they're happy, we're trying to get the feet off the floor, stepping situation. Boom, boom, boom. And let's put those hands on those knees. They're going to come into some multitasking any moment. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So those legs, the key is we're going to try and keep those legs moving as much as we can now. As we're going, let's start tapping the knees. So whichever leg raises, that's the knee you're tapping. And they're coming down together. They go up together, then they're down together. Almost like it's that hand doing the work. Pulling it up, pushing it down. A little bit further now. So that means the legs are having to slow down a little bit as the arms get into a bigger range of motion. Great work. And one hand up, pause, and back down. One hand up, pause, back down. One hand up, pause, back down. One hand up, pause, back down. Lovely. Okay. Once again, back to good posture. All I'm going to ask you to do now is kick out one leg as far as you can. Let's give them to the side view so you can see what I mean. So we're just going to sit up nice and straight and kick out one leg and back. One leg and back. Whatever your range of motion is, maybe it's just a little shuffle forward and back. Whatever that is, if you can raise the foot up high, let's get that foot up high as well. We've just got kicks forward and back. Excellent work. We're just going to do this for about 10 more seconds. Biggest range of motion you've got. Lovely. Okay, let's get into our exercises for today then. So we have, as usual, we have a good old bunch of work that we're going to do all from the chair, or at least around the chair for you today. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different movements. We're going 45 seconds work, followed by 75 seconds rest, okay? And during that rest period, we'll talk about the next movement, tips on moving, and all those kinds of things. Remember, each one will have different various difficulty levels, and one of the things that you can do to make it more challenging for yourself is change the position of how you sit in the chair. So let's just point that out for you. So the key thing is, the more of your leg in the chair, the less balancing that you have to do with your legs, okay? So if my bum is all the way back in the chair, I've got all this support here, meaning there's less balancing that I have to do. So if you find any movement particularly easy, you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can do that quite easily just by shifting more of your bum towards the end of your seat. Because if you end up right perched on the edge of the seat, suddenly you're having to do a lot more balancing and control with your legs. Additionally, once you are there towards the end of your legs, the other thing that you can do to make it more challenging, okay, is the placement of your feet. So if our feet are wide, because our structure is wide, wider base, better balance, okay? So once again, if we want to challenge ourselves when we've come to the end of the seat, the closer you bring your legs together, the more challenging it becomes, even to the point where you kind of just put toe in front of heel right there, okay? So if there's any movements, like I say, which you're finding that you want a little bit more of a challenge, edge towards the edge of that seat, bring those feet closer. That's going to be able to make it a little bit more challenging, as it adds more of a balance element to it for you. Excellent. Okay, first movement of the day, sit to stand. Real simple. We're going to start in a chair. We're going to move towards standing up, okay? A couple of different versions that we can do. Bums in the seat, all the weight through the seat. We transfer our weight onto our feet with a slight stand up and then back down, okay? So we're just working on transferring the weight to our feet and then standing up and then removing ourselves from our feet, weight back through our seat. Once you're happy with that kind of transfer of the balance, next step is to go all the way up. Excellent. And then once again, it's slowly back down to the chair. Okay, so sit to stand. Let me grab the old timer. We are going, remember, 45 seconds. Sit to stand. 3, 2, 1. And off we go. There we go. Okay, 45 seconds. Oh. So remember, if you've got those arms on your chair, you can use them for a little bit of extra support. Okay, transfer the weight to the feet, pushing up through the feet to get you out of the chair and back down. Transferring the weight to the feet, up out of the chair, back down. If we're going all the way up, transferring the weight to the feet, standing up nice and straight and all the way back down. Good control. Remember, it's all about maintaining a good rhythm, so however slowly we're getting up, nice and slowly back down as well. 3, 2, 1, done. So it's the most important movement that we do, because obviously that movement of getting from chair to standing we do all day, toilet, desks, sofas, dining tables, all those kinds of things. So the more that we can do it and the more we can try and perfect it, the better. So I do try and challenge you to kind of take your hands out of it as much as we can. If we can move away from putting our hands down, that's the challenge that we want to kind of master, if you will, from there. So transferring that weight to our feet and then up, kind of thing from there. So let's think about that as we push ourselves just a little bit more on those standing ones. Okay, next movement we got, and this is the first one that you can use your cans of beans if you want to today. We're just going to do a forward raise. So that posture is key. Good upper body posture, firmly rooted butt cheeks on our seat. We're in a nice seated position. And all we're looking to do is keep our arms relatively straight and just raise them up to the shoulder level, to the zombie position, if you will, and then back down to the knees. That's it, just that tiny little motion, a slight pause at the top and back down. If you've got your cans, you can use your cans. Same thing, up, hold, back down. That little motion is all we want. 45 seconds, off we go. And it's a very small range of motion. Just bringing the arms up, holding, and then back down. Keep that posture though. And so remember, this is one of the first movements that if you're finding it relatively easy, you might need more of a challenge, start shifting your bum towards the back of the seat. The front of the seat. Okay? Because then you're going to bring a little bit more of a balance element into it. Anytime we bring the balancing element into it, we're bringing a whole bunch more parts of the body into the exercise. We're building up much more code for the brain to kind of figure out how to do things and all those kinds of things. 2, 1, done. And that's really all it is. We got to think of our brain like it's a computer. The more we do a certain exercise, a certain movement pattern, those kinds of things, the more code the brain gets for that movement. So the more it figures it out, the more it feels comfortable with it, the more it will be able to do that motion. So that's why a lot of the movements that we do in this class week to week are relatively similar, because we want to continue to feed the brain more code so it can make those movements better. Okay, calf raises is what we're looking to do next. So I'll go to the good old side view for us. Good posture, always key. And remember, taking our bums further to the edge of the seats or back, extra bit of balance. All we're doing, feet under knees, heels high, hold, heels low. Okay? Heels high as you can get them, toes stay on the floor, back down, okay? And it's all very slowly in control. 45 seconds, let's go. Up, holding, and back down. So this is one of those ones that you can start to think about timings, okay? So whatever you go up, 1, 2, I'm holding, 1, 2, 2 seconds down, 1, 2. So that's showing us that it's all in control throughout all of the motions, okay? Especially those downward sections, any movement that we've got that's got a downward section. It's very easy just to let go, to disengage the muscles and allow gravity to take over. We're fighting against that. We want to get that work done at the return to the start position. Last 3 seconds, that's probably enough for one more good rep. There we go, lovely. Calf raise is done. Okay, next one we're looking to do is, once again, this is one that you can do with your weights if you want to. We're looking to take ourselves and push overhead, okay? And that's really what it is. It is a hand start on our laps, they come up to our shoulders as if we're pushing something up overhead and back down. Trying to keep those shoulders back and down, trying to keep the chest pronounced forward, shoulders driven back. Good posture. Remember your positioning in the seat. More balanced, the closer you are to the edge of your seat. If you want that little bit of extra resistance, we've got the cans as well. And remember, so it's up to the shoulders, then we raise up overhead and then back down. When we're raising up to the head, try and keep a bit of space between our hands. Try not to bring the shoulders up to our ears and hunch or anything like that. The shoulders remain down and back throughout the movement. Okay, so we're going 45 seconds, remember. We're taking ourselves from our laps to our shoulders to high up in the sky. Off we go. To our shoulders, up, and then back down to the lap. Up, all the way up, back down again. And once again, let's think about our rhythms. 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's control it the whole time. Let's make every movement purposeful. Move it with a purpose. Great English there. I'm a fitness instructor, not a teacher. 5 seconds to go. We're almost through. Nice and controlled. 1. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, one of my favourites next. We're going to do the floor touch. All I'm going to ask you to do, good posture, touch the floor either side of your hips. So let's turn to the side view again, because I think it's kind of key to do it here so you can see the whole situation. So here's my hips. you know, my bum cheeks, whatever you want to use as an aiming point. I'm trying to touch the floor or get as close to that as I can by my butt cheek. Now I've got a chair in the way, or you know, my range of motion might not let me get there, so it's as far as you can go towards that side. What I want you to look at is shoulder to hip. Notice how my posture stays the same, and I turn to the side like a pendulum. Okay, I'm going left to right. There's no forward bend or anything like that. And that's the key on this whole thing. So it's not forward down and touch, it's literally side pendulum. Both your butt cheeks are staying firmly planted in the seat as we touch side to side, okay? We're going 45 seconds again. Nice and controlled down, nice and controlled up. Off we go. Now you're working on your range of motion here, okay? Try not to get too jerky in it. It's a nice smooth motion. And it, like I say, so we're working on our range of motion. So when you find yourself able to do the entire movement, okay, down and back up, with no support from the arms of the chair to pull you up and things like that, both your butt cheeks are staying in contact with the chair, you can think about adding weights. So you've got your cans in your hand, and you're going down as far as you can to touch the knuckle on the floor, and then we slowly bring it on up. Down to the side, and then slowly bring it up. Remember, our key point before deciding we're ready for the next one is posture. Is my posture set throughout? Okay, time. Good one. All right, so we're back to arm work, bit of shouldery area kind of here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do side raises. All right, so we're taking our hands once again from our laps. That's going to be our starting position. And we're looking to drive the elbows and wrists up as high as we can to the side, and then right back down to our laps. So it's almost like we're coming up to an X-wing position if you're a Star Wars fan, or you're bringing yourself up to a oh, it's cold in the water kind of position every time you get in the sea. Oh, it's cold, and back down again. So it's just this up, elbows high, hands high, back down position, okay? As an added challenge, if you want to introduce your weights again, same thing. We are good posture, we're up, shoulder position, back down, okay? Elbows high, hold, back down. And it's really those elbows I want you to concentrate on more than the hands. We want the elbows to be leading the way, not just to get the hands up there, okay? So it's elbows first, and then hands up. 45 seconds, let's go. Up, and back down to the lap. Up, hold, back down to the lap. That posture's still in position. That posture's holding really well. Up, hold, back down to the lap. Thinking about that bum position in the chair. Added bit of difficulty if you take your bum towards the end of that chair. Last 10 seconds to go. That's probably enough for 3 good, slow, controlled repetitions. Up, hold, back down. Up, hold, back down. Lovely stuff. Okay, and our final exercise is going to be through the leg movement. So, I should have probably mentioned this at the beginning, shouldn't I? If you've got a pillow, a cuddly toy, a ball, something along those lines, a small dog, a hamster, I don't know, or even one of the cans that you've been using, something, an object to use. Not to worry if you haven't got anything, because what you can just do is tap your hands every time. What we're essentially doing is we are looking, okay, to raise a leg and pass an object underneath the leg, okay? Up, leg goes up again, passing it under, and again, okay? So we've got a slow, controlled leg raise as we pass our object underneath. Like I say, if you haven't got an object, touch hands underneath, something along those lines, that's perfectly fine, okay? Think posture. Think challenging position in the chair, your difficulty slider. 45 seconds and we're off. So I'm just going to turn around to the side whilst we're working. So remember, posture is set. Raise, pass. Leg high, pass, back to start. Leg high, pass, back to start. We've got coordination going on. We've got control of the legs. We've got that core working for posture. And we're also moving our walking gait through an everyday motion. There's lots of going on, big complicated movement pattern, and we're doing it all in control today. You've got 5 seconds to go on the movement, and then we're done for this round. Time, good stuff. Round 1 done. Those are our 7 movements for today, ladies and gentlemen. So grab yourself a little bit of drink should you want to, and we're going to go to the top and we're going to come down that list again. Let me just double check the time. Oh, we got plenty of time. Look at that. Okay, so we'll go again, 45 seconds, followed by that 75-second rest. Now remember, keying, if that first round, now you know the different movements, some of them we've done before, some of them are new, those kinds of things. Remember, that first thing you want to think about is the posture set? Are my shoulder blades actively pushing towards my back pockets? So what we're looking at, I don't know why I moved the chair around there, is these shoulder blades here, the big bony things in our back, are they forcing their way down to our back pockets? If you want to really feel what that feels like an exaggerated version, if you take your hands behind your back, okay, and push your hands down, that's like an exaggerated version of what we're trying to do with that position. So you can push down and away, and you'll notice how your shoulders are pulled back, how your chest rotates forward, and it puts you in an exaggerated version of what we're trying to do. So maybe anytime that you're doing a motion and you're unsure, your body's kind of, you're curling up or whatever, think shoulders back and down. If you can't do it, if it's not second nature yet, take those hands behind the back and readjust your position and get yourself in there for the movement. So key 1 is posture. Key 2, if you want to increase that difficulty, don't be afraid to take that extra little slide towards the edge of the seat. Maybe even kind of move those feet closer together. Maybe even toe in front of toe, toe in front of heel, heel in front of toe. You get it, to increase the balance factor of the movement, okay? So lots of things there. I'm trusting you to push yourself to the right level. Has to be challenging, ladies and gentlemen. Not necessarily like sweaty challenging, but it has to feel slightly mildly uncomfortable, because every time that we work in mild discomfort, whether that is mental or physical discomfort, your body and your brain starts to get comfortable there. The more time you spend there, the more comfortable you get. I want you to think of it like a warm bath or a cold seaside, something like that. If we ever just touched something the first time and left it at that initial touch, we'd never get in the sea, we'd never get in that nice relaxing warm bath. It's about being consistently in there until we get used to it, and then suddenly it becomes normal and fine. So push yourselves a little bit, just a little bit into mild discomfort, and that's where the development will happen. Okay? Cool. Rant over. Let's go back to the start of our round, and it's sit to stand, remember? Weight from the bum into the feet and back. Weight from the bum into the feet to full standing from there. 45 seconds, away we go. So remember, if we've got those arms for the little bit of extra support and we've been using them for a couple of weeks, why not challenge yourself today? Why not try and just bring our weight forward up onto the feet, rocked up and back down? If we're developing this movement pattern, we don't need to go all the way up to the top to get the benefits. There's a lot of work in the muscles at that bottom end, just getting our weight from the seat onto our feet and rocking up. So even if that's all we're comfortable with doing today and we can't push out of it, getting the repetitions here is getting a lot of good work done at the lower part of our body. So never be concerned about kind of what level you're working in. That's good for 45 seconds. We're on to the front raise next. So remember, good posture. We're going to do this whole round from the side, so you can keep keying on good posture as I mention it. So good posture, shoulders are back and down, and it's just hands on the hips. Nope, they're not hips, they're knees. And it's just hands raised up to the zombie position, back down. To the zombie position, and back down. Okay? And remember, if you've got your weights somewhere, oh, I've ruined the illusion by going out of shot there. If you've got the weights there, boom, boom, up to the bit, and back down. One of the keys is not to let those shoulders kind of jump up to your ears. Try not to let them kind of jump in, tickle the earlobes or anything along those lines. Keep them rotated back and down, and it's just up, just to the zombie position, and all the way back down. Okay? We've got 45 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, off we go. So you might want to concentrate, if the arm movement's fine, maybe you concentrate on setting the posture. Once you're happy with the posture, maybe you pick up the cans. Maybe if you're happy at that position, then wish the shuffle forward, planting those feet a little further forward, a little bit more challenging. Maybe we even bring our hands all the way down to the sides. So our range of motion is a little bit bigger because you've got a little bit more space because you're at the edge of your seat. Last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Okay, what you got to do with no eyes? No idea. Thank you very much. So, next movement we've got is the calf raises. Okay, so we're going to add an extra element of challenge here if you want it. Once again, don't feel you have to if you don't want to. It's no issues. So, we know calf raises, sit in our seat, calves high, not calves high, well the calves are going high, but heels high, full hold, then lowering back down. Great. We know if we want to bring it up a challenge level, then we bring ourselves further away towards the edge of the seat. Remember, we're keying posture, up and down. Now, if you're already here and you want that extra challenge factor, why not grab your weights and just pop them on the knees from there, okay? We're adding a little bit more resistance. It's going to make the movement a little bit more challenging should you want to do it today, okay? 3, 2, 1. Nope, not yet. We got 5 seconds left. Sorry, I can't read a clock. Okay, 3, 2, 1. There we go, 45 seconds. We're keying on posture. We're driving those shoulder blades down towards your back pockets. Everything from the hips up is sturdy and is not moving. You're holding and pausing at the top of every repetition. So think you're keying timings again. Maybe it's taking 1 second to get up. You're holding for 1 second and then slowly lowering for 1 second. Maybe you're going 2 seconds up, really in control. Holding for 2 seconds and then lowering for 2 seconds as well. Don't let those heels drop out. Don't let gravity take over. You're controlling it through the entire range of motion. Up and a hold and slowly lowering back down again. 2, 1, lovely stuff. That is our calf raises. So we're going to go to the overhead press next. So remember, once again, without the cans, posture's held. However, we're sat in our chair, hands on the lap. We bring our hands up to the shoulders, and then we're pushing up overhead. It's a push up, okay? It's not like a forward raise like we did earlier. It's not a straight arm raise up overhead. It literally is from lap up to shoulder. So we've got that kind of bicep curl in there, and then we push up overhead. So if you've got the cans, you're going from hips. No, you're not. You're going from knees to shoulders, up overhead, and then you just do the reverse backwards. Don't take that return trip lazy. Don't just bring the arms down any old way. Retrace your steps throughout, down to the shoulder, back down to our legs. Okay? If you want that extra range of motion, you've got your hands, you can bring them down to the chair bottom. If you've got your bum far enough out, just gives you a little bit more range of motion on the curl. 45 seconds. Off you go. Push overhead. Remember, we're keeping those shoulder blades towards our back pockets. Those shoulder blades, we're not allowing to travel up, which in turn will make our shoulders travel to our ears. Core's engaged to stabilize that spine. That's what it's there for. That core is there to support and stabilize that spine, especially towards that bottom, around that lumbar area is super key. Around the bottom part here, where we've got a nice squeeze on, almost like a girdle supporting our position. Last rep. Good stuff. Okay. We're back to the floor touch. Our pendulum, our side to side touch. Okay. Remember what I said in the last one. If you wanted that extra bit of challenge, you can hold the can in your hands or your weight as you're kind of leaning down to one side, but you're still doing the same thing. You're trying to keep shoulder to hip aligned as we go side and then back up. Remember, it's not a forward lean and touch. It really is just down at the side. Both butt cheeks are firmly in position on the chair. If your range of motion is only very slight, that's fine. Okay, range of motion will come. Range of motion expands the more you do movements. So maybe just during the week you do it once or twice, like, oh, let's do 10 or so reps doing this. Becoming more familiar with it, like I said earlier, introducing the code to the brain, that kind of thing is going to continue to help it improve on what it's doing. Okay, so side touches on the floor, your big range of motion, pendulum type situation, off we go, 45 seconds. And this is a nice slow movement, okay? Anytime I do core movements, I like to see them slow. I like to see them in control. I'm not a big fan of jerky movements for the core. So don't throw yourself into it to try and get even deeper, to try and get towards the floor. Really just slowly but surely take yourself far down to that side as possible from there. If you can get to that floor, bonus. Give yourself a pat on the back. If not, you've got a target now. You've got a goal for the next couple of weeks. Time. Good stuff. Side touches. Done. Okay, we're back to those side raises, or those kind of X-wing raises, however you want to mention them. We've got that rotation, shoulders are up, and we're just bringing our elbows up, remember. We're going elbows high with the palms as well, all up to shoulder level, and then back down. Up, and then back down. So remember, regardless of kind of how high you can get your hands, let those elbows drive high. Don't let the arms lead the way and then let the elbows come secondary. It's the elbow rotation up and to the side. So you can see from the side, it's literally kind of straight up and like a chicken wing. You know, that kind of thing. Up, hold, back down. If you wanted to add the weighted element, you've got your cans, maybe you've invested in dumbbells, you've been using dumbbells, those kinds of things. So we've got those as well. And remember, changing your position in the chair will put more or less balance on your body. Here we go, 45 seconds, off we go. Up, elbows high, back down, like a chicken. Bonus points if you are making chicken noises. And you get all the points in the world, whoever you are, if you're watching this and you film somebody making chicken noises doing this movement, because I would love to see that video. In all my time teaching classes, I feel like the only people I've ever heard do any noises I've suggested are other instructors as well. Maybe it's just an instructor thing. Right, we got 10 seconds to go. Good posture. Hold that position. Elbows are drawing high, remember. Only up to that shoulder position. There we go. And then our last movement on the day. Let's just check our time. Our last movement is through the legs. So whatever item you're using, or the hand tap if you don't have an item. Good posture. set your position as required, and it's just passing it through the legs. It's nice and slow, it's nice and controlled, and it's not just a hoopla. It is a controlled leg raise to pass the item underneath. I'm going to actually move my chair back a little bit, give myself a little bit more space. Nice and controlled. So think about the last round, if you can remember, brain test. Let's see if we can take it the opposite way round this time. Okay, so if you went left to right, let's go right to left and vice versa. Okay, keying on posture, keying on control the entire time. Okay, 45 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and we are off. Coordination is king. See if we can keep our eyes up on the horizon. See if we can do this without even looking at the hand transfer. See if when that leg comes down, we're controlling it all the way through to the ground and you're not letting it drop off. And remember, this isn't as many reps as you can do. This is as many perfect reps as you do. So we shouldn't be trying to kind of raise that heart rate too high. We shouldn't be looking to get a sweat on. That's not the key of these classes. The key is to perfect the movements. To perfect the movement, that posture needs to be set throughout any of the movements that we're doing. 2, 1, lovely stuff. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, oh, I fell off the seat myself. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, brilliant stuff. That's our little circuit done for today. So, let's do a little bit of kind of range of motion, an extra bit of kind of stretching and those kinds of things, just to work on that kind of, confidence, muscle length and those kinds of things. Now, the key to stretching isn't what you're doing. Generally, it's how much and how consistent you are with them. One of the keys I always recommend is stretching 1 to 2 times a day where available. That's when you're going to see very big benefits and very quick benefits in both your range of motion, so how far you can move through various muscles, and also kind of the quality of movement of the muscles as well. Generally, if your muscles have got a bigger range of motion, then you're going to find things like walking, bending over, picking things up, all those kinds of things much easier because you're not fighting against the body stopping you from moving. Because that's essentially what it is. If you don't have the range of motion, if you can't touch your toes and all those kinds of things, it's not that your muscles can't do it, it's because your brain isn't allowing your body to do it. So by consistently challenging that brain into a range of motion, you're teaching it time and time again that it can do that motion, it's fine to do that motion, and that it should recode itself. So let's talk about recoding it, shall we? First and foremost, let's go ahead with one foot. It's up to you. I'll go sideways so we can see this a little bit better actually. What we're looking to do is we're going to put one foot as far in front of the body as we can, still flat on the floor, and bring the other one back as far as we can, still flat on the floor. So hopefully we've got like nice straight leg at the front or as close to it as we can. Then we're just going to bend on forward into that stretch a little bit from there. Should be feeling it on our hamstrings. Try not to let your shoulders hunch up or anything along those lines. If you can keep posture as well on this, that's going to really, really help. So if you can keep those shoulder blades back and down, we can keep posture. So you can feel this, in the hamstring, perhaps a little bit of glute. Those two are connected up at the top here. So very much depending on what your range of motion is like, what position you put yourself into. Whilst you're down there, now we're going to bring that toe, we'll bring ourselves back up, bring that toe high and repeat that same situation. So now we're just engaging the calf muscle a little bit as well. So when that calf muscle's involved as well, it's pulling against the knee, the hamstring's pulling against the knee, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on there as well. They're kind of almost arguing over the knee in this situation. So if you do feel any pain in the back of the knee, do give a soft bend in that knee before you stretch into it a little bit more. Okay? And then let's bring ourselves up and we'll go through the same but the opposite way round. So 1 foot, this time it's flat on the floor, and we're forward into it as much as we can. Keep the shoulders back and down. Big deep breaths, and then pushing through the exhale will help you get into stretches a little bit better. As you take it back up, let's bring the toe high, and the same thing. Remember, if you feel any kind of pain in the knee, a soft bend in the knee will take a little bit of stress out of the knee and allow the muscles to get the stretch on that they need. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to take our feet wide next. So whatever that means to you today, if your butt is closer to the edge of your seat, you are going to give your hips a little bit better range of motion to be able to do it. And all you're going to do is bend forward as far as is comfortable for you today. So if you can get all the way down to the floor comfortably, great. Obviously don't go so far as that you're going to fall over. Make sure you are loading the feet so that you are balanced up there nicely. If your butt's far back in the seat, that's fine. But we just got a little forward bending motion from there for you. And generally, if you've got a little bit more time on your hands, I do recommend holding your stretches for kind of, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, that kind of thing. And then doing it, 2-3 times in a row. Or maybe you've got 5 or 6 movements that you really like to hold and put stretches on. And you do kind of all 6 and then repeat them a second time, those kinds of things from there. Let's take 1 foot and cross it over the opposite leg. Okay, once we've crossed over, we're going to use that knee that's going to cross and we're going to basically push it round the body. So I'm going to use my elbow. You may use your hand, depending on what your range of motion is going to allow you to do. But we're just pushing the knee away and across the body as we use a turn round on the chair. We're trying to force and keep both butt cheeks on the floor. And you'll find definitely in your core, in your midsection, a little bit of a stretch. You may find a little bit in your glutes as well. Maybe high in the hamstring. You're leading round with your shoulder, not with your head. Okay, so looking round isn't the key. It's pushing the shoulder round that is. Okay, let's unravel and go ahead and do the opposite side then. So leg on over. This time you're pushing that leg over and you take yourself round again. Anytime we're getting into stretches, take it nice and slow, nice and controlled. Don't force it too far. Lovely stuff, bringing it back to the middle. We'll just take those, if you remember right at the beginning when I talked about posture, I said about taking the hands behind the back. That's what we're going to do now. Hands behind the back and just push them down and away from your shoulder blades. It's going to open up all kinds of areas. Trying to keep the hands, you're basically trying to get the hands as far away from the butt cheeks as you can whilst keeping them straight. Alright? So they're kind of pushing down and away. And that draws your shoulders back and down, does a little bit of work in and around your shoulders. A little bit of a stretch in there. A little bit of your chest areas, it's pulled apart. Your shoulder blades are squeezing together as they're kind of trying to escape its way away from the shoulders. And then we're going to bring them all the way to the front, cross our fingers, push the shoulders forward this time, and then drive the head through the gap. Lovely stuff. Okay, thank you very much for today. As always, it is an online class, so you can leave a comment or a like on the video. Let us know you've been by. If you have any problems or issues with your symptoms, please refer back to the neurologist or the physios or the nurses you're dealing with down at BrAMS. They're the best people to speak to about that. If you've got any questions or queries about any of the movements, or there's something you'd like to see more in these classes, by all means pop those in there as well. It's always great to hear, kind of change the classes as necessary for the audience. Obviously, it was mentioned last week, we'd love to see it in a pub, hence the reason why we're in a pub today. If there's somewhere you'd like us to work out next week, just let me know and we'll see what we can do from there next week. Apart from that, if you are watching this on YouTube, do give it a like, do give it a comment, or if you're watching on catch up, do let us know when you've been by to do it. It's always interesting to see who's doing it on delay versus who's doing it live. We get a lot more information on the live people than we do on the delayed people. So do leave a comment or a like or something along those lines to let us know when you've been by. It takes one click, ladies and gentlemen, that's all it is. Have a great rest of your week, and I shall see you, I won't see you, but I will be around same time, hopefully a little bit better on time, because there won't be as many technical problems. But yes, next week, online. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Time at the bar.